everyone, and welcome back to our weekly DSS break. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're here live every Thursday to talk about data sciences, experiences, and best practices with leading data professionals in a 15-minute break. I'm Anna Anderson, CEO and founder of Formulated by Home of Data Science Salon, and I'm streaming live from our HQ located here in the heart of Miami Design District. Today, I'm really excited to welcome Shivika Bisen, lead data scientist at PAXAFE, an intelligent platform that predicts adverse events through the supply chain. And Shivika and her team use machine learning for time series forecasting to make supply chain predictions. And she recently gave a presentation about model testing, and I'm really excited to know more about her experience with it. And it's really important topic and challenge for many people in our community. So welcome, Shivika. I'm really happy to have you here today. And maybe you can go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got here.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks, Anna. Hi, everyone. As you know, I'm Shivika, and I'm a data scientist with 3 years of experience in building predictive models and analytical solutions for business applications. My experience involves working end to end in all the machine learning and data science processes. So, right from the scratch to the model deployment and insights, I work on all these things. I did my MS in data science from University of Michigan Ann Arbor, and presently I'm working in a startup called PAXAFE as a lead data scientist there. And as Anna said, I work on building predictive models for predicting any adverse events like temperature excursions that might happen in a shipment. We'll talk about it in I think in a couple of minutes more about it. But yeah, I also do some of the analytics like build dashboards on the transport data. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Cool. No, it's really nice to have you here. And I know that you have a passion to solve business problems through machine learning and analytics, and you have worked extensively in very stage of data science process. And what do you think is the most exciting part of solving these problems with machine learning?
Yeah, and, thanks. That's my favorite question, actually. I like investigating. All these machine learning problems are, it's a learning problem, right? You have to investigate why a certain thing is happening, and then build a solution from it. So that's the exciting part I like about it, that I'm able to create a solution and bring it in real world, right? A solution of value. So that, and also another thing that I like about being in the field of ML is that you get to communicate a lot regarding whatever you built. You have to also communicate what insights you got. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really neat. I can see that you're really passionate about your job, so I love that. And
Yeah.
I know that you've been recently focused on predicting adverse events in the supply chain, which is really interesting as well, because
Mhm.
that's definitely been affected by the recent events and such. So can you tell me a little bit about this use case and the benefits also of using machine learning to predict this specifically in this supply chain? Because I know now that's really a big topic of conversation.
Mhm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think especially nowadays, supply chain has become really important because everything is like on transit, right? Everyone is working from remote, and I would say there are multiple use cases, but I work closely towards the real time visibility. So we have like a lot of IoT data for any shipments, and we leverage those data to give real time visibility to business shipments. To give you a very like just context how it could be applied. Suppose if you are shipping a very temperature sensitive vaccine globally, right? And it might get subjected to temperature excursion, meaning it would go outside the normal range where it's stable. So you can predict that beforehand and try to avoid that situation, because as of now you only get alerted once the excursion has happened, but by then all the loss has already been done, right? And such cases usually cause loss of about $40 billion annually for
Wow,
farmers.
that's not
Yeah,
that's crazy.
yeah, that's pretty. I mean, yeah. So all of this can be avoided if we try to predict earlier and then intervene to prevent it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, those numbers are astronomical. So it sounds like it's super important.
Yeah.
You gave a talk recently about testing machine learning model for production at Convergence conference. And what is the main challenges you've seen when testing models for production? Because I know a lot of models don't even make it to production. So how do you determine if a model actually makes it or it just goes nowhere?
Right. There are a couple common challenges that we see when we are trying to ship any ML model to production. For example, the real time visibility that I work in, right? We have to predict and learn in a couple of seconds. And that we have to do for multiple shipments. It could be thousands and hundreds of thousands, right? Shipments going on. So apart from model evaluation, you also have to like look for what's the latency, like response time of the model, and the load, how much it can take at a time. Um, this is just related to like online, when your model is like online learning and predicting model. But even if you don't have this real time application, still if it's just normal ML model, then there is a concept called data drift, which is when whatever you trained your model on, that data changes after some time, and you have to retrain that model again and then test that whether that new model is actually better than the previous model. So all of these challenges are there that should be looked into production.
Cool. And what happens, just out of curiosity, it's not the question I was going to ask, but I was wondering what happens to the models that never get used. Like, do you go back and rebuild them, or do you just kind of like throw them out and don't use them?
We reiterate. So there are times when the model, whatever we built, might not give us accuracy that well, and then we have to retry, reiterate over it, optimize it.
Hmm.
Eventually, it gets productionized.
So eventually all models do get to production, right?
Yeah, at least whatever I have worked on, it has. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
And speaking of all these different things that you have to do, are there some specific tools that you like to use for this? Or do you guys have something you built internally to do all this? Because I know now that the whole like tool landscaping just gotten so large that there's like a tool that does each one of those steps.
Mhm.
So is there anything that you like as a favorite, or do you use open source? Would be just very interested to hear what you like to use.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say it's a combination of both open source as well as other tools.
Hmm.
When a data scientist is just working on building a model, then I would say common tools are Python, SQL, which are used for plugging into the production.
Right.
So, but then when the team is involved, then we would use versioning, like a platform where it is easy to version these ML models. And we would have similar to GitHub, Bitbucket, right? I mean, you can save different versions and collaborate with the team uh, to keep optimizing the model. And then AWS is one where you have to, because all of our data is usually on cloud, and that's the reason we have to use a cloud-based platform. It could be AWS, it could be other, but we use at least AWS. Yeah, so these are the common tools.
Cool. Nice. And what about some of the publications and websites that you like to visit for to kind of stay up to date with all the tech, the latest things in the industry?
Yeah, I would say I refer a lot, especially the Google Scholar. When we are in the research phase, we do see that and read through a lot of papers. And then from that, we can go to different library sources, right? So, but then other are Medium is one good, and yeah, I guess these are most common ones.
Cool. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much for sharing all this. It was really nice to chat with you today,
yeah,
Shivika. And thanks for, yeah, that was really cool to hear about how you work on this and how important this is, just to the whole world pretty much, especially if you're dealing with such things as vaccines, right?
yeah.
So, yeah, and it was a pleasure to chat. And, if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in to the chat there in LinkedIn, and then you could get to them later.
Yeah, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Perfect. Well, it was nice to have you guys back, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Anna.